Welcome to Freedom Motivated with Christina Whiteley, the podcast that empowers you to live life on your terms. Are you uninspired, bored, and unhappy with where life has taken you? And yearning for a life filled with purpose and passion? Look no further. We are here to ignite that fire within, to awaken your true potential, and to guide you on a journey towards absolute freedom. Join us as we delve into the minds of incredible entrepreneurs and freedom leaders from very different backgrounds with incredible stories. Be inspired by their resilience and learn from their challenges they faced along the path to success. These are the brave individuals who fight every day to awaken people to the power of self-responsibility and who inspire them to create a life they are absolutely in love with. Each episode will explore the concept of conscious income creation, building a business or creating a career that aligns with your unique skill set, purpose, values, and belief system. Discover the strategies, tips, and invaluable insights shared by our guests as they guide you towards making a living doing what you love. It's time to break free from the shackles of conformity and embrace the freedom that awaits. Are you ready to take control of your life? Are you ready to step into the life you've always dreamed of? Then welcome to Freedom Motivated, the podcast that will ignite your spirit and unleash your potential. Hello, and I'm so excited to be here today with my friend and business partner. I say that because I feel like every top performer needs a team of incredible humans around them that help them grow, that support them, that help them see all sides, all perspectives. And Jennie Potter has been such a pivotal person in my life. I call her a friend because I just love her. I love who she is. I love how she shows up to people. I love what she gives to this world. She's very unique in what she does. If you have not read her book, Self-Sabotage No More, this is like one of her first books, not her first book, but one of the big ones that is just selling like hotcakes out there on Amazon. If you haven't bought a copy, make sure that you do. I listened to that book on Audible twice in a row. That doesn't happen very often, but she has these tangible steps that help you overcome these things in your life. And the reason that I brought her back on the podcast and the reason that I continue to put her in front of my masterminds and programs is because of how she helps people. But she's got a new book out now called Stuck No More. And how many of you have ever felt stuck? You just felt stuck in a situation, stuck in business. Maybe you felt like you haven't had opportunity to grow, or there's been something in your way. Maybe it was that piece of self-sabotage or some self-limiting belief that maybe you weren't even aware of. And Miss Jennie, man, she has helped me clear a lot of the things that have blocked me from opening up and really truly standing in my power and who I am and how I help people. And a lot of that was in my subconscious, and I didn't even know it. So I'm very excited to have her on the podcast today. I'm excited for her to talk to you a little bit about her book, Stuck No More, because she has developed some really unique ways of thinking in helping with, again, tangible steps that'll help you move through the places that challenge you the most. And I would just love to hear a little bit more from you, Miss Jennie, on what you do and how you help people and why this book is so important for people right now in the world where people feel maybe that they lack a little bit of hope. They lack a little bit of motivation when they feel like they're up against all of this stuff going on, whether it's distraction or the cost of living or business is challenging right now. This is just such a great time for you to be here. So thank you for coming.
Well, thank you so much for having me. What a wonderful introduction. I wish I could just walk around with you all day. I love working with you, and I have appreciated so much and learned so much from you, Christina. So thank you for having me back on. I'm super excited to be here and share a little bit about Stuck No More. Stuck No More, I really, there were a lot of title choices for this book, and Self-Sabotage No More kind of sells itself because we all know we self-sabotage. But what came up for me is that a lot of people feel stuck, and some of those people feel stuck in a certain income, stuck with the way that they show up in their family or their family shows up for them, stuck in relationships, stuck in health. Maybe they're tired all the time. Maybe they've been a certain weight that they've just been like struggling with, but they can't seem to shift or get out of that mode. And stuck is just, I hear it almost every time I meet with a new client. It's one of the words that comes up. I feel stuck. I feel stuck at this level. I feel stuck at this rank. I feel stuck at this weight. I feel stuck at this energy level. I feel stuck in my relationships, whatever it is. And so in my classic Jennie style, I just dove into like, why do people, self-sabotage? But then beyond that, the people that have cleared the emotions that are blocking them or cleared the emotions that have caused them to self-sabotage, why are they still stuck or why do they feel stuck? And so kind of dove into that. And in my book, of course, I go into detail around ways to get unstuck. But what I did was, and you know this because you were one of the people that I reached out to because I adore and look up to you. And I love your lifestyle. You know, my husband and I are aspiring to live somewhere else and live a different life. And you've done it. You guys have done what so many people don't do. You got unstuck.
Mhm.
And so I reached out to you and I said, hey, like, what's the most favorite thing that you ever manifested, that you ever felt like you created? And I actually reached out to a lot of people that I look up to, that I admire, that in finances, in lifestyle, in health, in relationship. Reached out to all these people and I was like, hey, when you created XYZ, like, what was your favorite, what's your favorite story around that? Because there's been times in my life where I have affirmed something and it's happened like the next day. I've used affirmations, I am statements, and I've just created the thing. And then there's other times where it took 5 years or 2 years. And so I started looking into like, how come affirmations work for some people, but they don't work for all the people, or they don't work all the time? And I came up with some core reasons why. And I also created something called the affirmation. And the affirmation is really around affirming what you want, not just from an I am perspective, but from a feeling, from a choice, from an appreciation, love, declaration, envisioning, doing it with God. And so I created these kind of 8 affirmations. And also in the book, I talk about when's the best time to reprogram your subconscious, when's the best time to speak out this recipe that seems to work every time. Like when I asked you your story and you shared with me getting pregnant and having your son and manifesting with your daughter.
Mhm.
What you shared with me was you didn't just declare it, you didn't just speak it over your life, which you always said children instead of child. And there was things you declared, you visioned for it, you felt it. Right?
I
Getting
know, it's like
emotional.
making me emotional.
But there were these pieces, there was a recipe, there was a formula. So when you appreciated, there was all of these things you chose, you made the decision together with Ryan.
Oh, you're killing me today.
And so when I talked to other people, lo and behold, same pieces were there in their
Yeah.
formula:
Yeah.
appreciation, I am statements, choice, love, declaration, God, resonance. And so everybody I asked had the same formula, even though they didn't know. And that's why I call it my secret, not so
Mm.
secret formula. And so for myself, I share this story about how I wanted to be promoter of the year and I spoke it out. I did all the things. And then one day there I was on stage, promoter of the year. And I looked back like, how did I create that? Or what did I do to manifest that thing? And which, if you were to look at the facts, kind of seemed like an impossible thing for me to manifest at that time of my life. Okay, I'm just gonna say. And so, and all of the pieces were there. And so that's what this Stuck No More is about, is what is the tangible recipe to manifesting the life that you want. And of course, I've also included, if you feel blocked, if there's emotion that comes up when you want to manifest something, how do you release that block? I have a new method. I call it my balloon method, that helps people release any kind of emotions or limiting beliefs they might have around creating the life they want.
And I love how you put this into words. Like when I hear you speak about it, for me, it's just having faith and belief. It's a confidence thing, right? It's having the confidence to believe that this is truly possible for you, and then putting, like you said, the emotion behind it. And who better to learn that from than your kids? Like, because they don't have all of these limiting beliefs on them. They just think everything is possible. I can have anything that I want. And sometimes that's true and sometimes it's not. But the matter of fact is that they do it with a whole heart. And sometimes our experience in life jades us. Sometimes, we think, okay, well, we had this experience, so it can't just happen for us. But we have these little things in the back of our head that if we speak into life with truth and integrity and the right energy, a lot of the times, if there are no blockages there, if we've been able to clear those things that are holding us back, it's a lot faster path to manifesting it. It's a lot, and you and I have talked about the word manifesting a little bit too, right? And I think that that's kind of important to bring up because it is part of manifesting. And there's this weird kind of energy that comes manifesting because some people think, well, that's not very godlike, that's not having faith in God. But I believe that they go together. Like, I think that you co-create and you manifest with God because of your intention and how you show up and your prayers and all the faith that you have in that co-creation. And so do you want to speak to that a little bit? Because I know we
Mhm.
talked about it previously, and I think sometimes people put their hand up and say, oh, manifesting is fluffy, but really it's a series of events that are tangible that you can
Mhm.
do. And depending on how much faith you have in that, the faster the things that you want show up.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I was even hesitant to I wanted to use the word manifest in the title. And I had several people give me kind of interesting feedback around that word. And really, it's a shame that manifest has kind of gotten a bad name in certain communities because manifesting is creating. We were born to create. We were designed in the likeness of God, and we were born to create, and we were born to speak things into creation. This is a gift that each and every one of us have. And so my affirmations do cover the last affirmation is co-create. I co-create with God. And for some people, I'll say, well, I'm not stuck on how you say it. You can say, I'm grateful to God for helping me create XYZ or for giving me XYZ or whatever. It has to be in alignment with your faith and with what you believe. But um, I love manifesting with God. I mean, it's so cool. And when you consciously include God in what you want in your life, whether it's more money or a healthier relationship or a lake house, whatever it is, if you want to create that with God, it helps kind of clear out the stuff that God didn't put on your heart. It kind of
Yeah.
it helps you when you're intentionally including God in your life and in what you want to create. Um, it makes you more intentional about what you're asking for and what you're creating for your life. Sometimes I'll
Yeah.
look at my I am statements and go, do I really want that? Like, is that what I want? Did God put that on my heart, or is that like just one of those things that are kind of random, and it's not going to make a difference one way or another. So I think there's a lot of wiggle room there. I think God, if let's just use something really random, like a purse. If you really want a purse, like, I don't think you're going to be blocked. You know, like, is it okay for me to want a purse or to ask God, like, for a purse? Is that okay? And I just,
If you
I
really want the
encourage
purse, get the
people
purse.
purse. I was just saying that, when you go through your affirmations, it's I am, I feel, I choose, I appreciate and love, I declare, I envision, I resonate with, and I co-create. And if you can do all 8 of those and those all feel in alignment, it'll be yours.
And another piece of this, I think, is an awareness, because sometimes we ask for things and we don't even have the awareness that it was given to us, right? Um, I, unlike kids, like they're like, oh man, I wanted this and I got it, or this is something that came up. And for example, we play a game called Rockstar Parking. Every time we go somewhere, we call it Rockstar Parking. We're like, hey, I am manifesting Rockstar Parking right now, which means right up front parking, right? And so
Yeah.
when that happens, we acknowledge it. We're like, I'm grateful for this, because when you acknowledge those little things that happen, like, you're a magnet for miracles, right? And if you're not acknowledging and being grateful for all the little things that are happening in your life, then they don't show up. And so I'll give you an example. And I've talked to you about this because every time Izzy manifests something, I'm just like, how does this kid do this? Like, it's just incredible how quickly it happens.
Yeah.
And she knows it, right? She knows that she manifested her little brother. She knows that that was the intention, and the more energy she put in, the quicker the outcome was going to be. And so she's been asking us to go to Paris over and over and over and over again. Like, she wants to see the Eiffel Tower. It's her biggest dream, like, because she'd seen a couple of cartoons that were based there, right? And she's like, I have to go to Paris and see the Eiffel Tower. And we were taking a trip to Europe, and I was like, yeah, but we're not going to France. Like, we are going somewhere else. We can't just like go to another country because you would like to see the Eiffel Tower. Well, when we started looking at flights, lo and behold, the best flight, the shortest flight, the least amount of stopovers, was a 5-hour layover in Paris. Like, what are the odds of that? And I looked at Ryan, I was like, how, like, we went through Germany on the way here. We would go through somewhere, like, what are the odds that there's a and we have to change airports and drive through the city? Like, what? I was like, we have to do this. And it was the cheapest, it was the most affordable, like,
Yeah.
all the things. And I was just like, how did she do that? And then we surprised her that morning, and she was I didn't show it because it was so emotional for her. She like started crying, and she couldn't even believe that we were going to do it. And she's like, Mom, I manifested it. I'm like, darling, you sure did. Like, and to honor that and not just be like, well, that was a fluke, or that, like,
Yeah.
oh, and like not acknowledge that. When you
Mhm.
start to see those things happen in your life and you have gratitude for them,
Mhm.
you start believing with everything you got that you can bring these things into your life. And that's where, like, this motion of being stuck shifts, because you realize, I'm the driver.
Mhm.
Right, I'm the driver. And I know that you tell this story, and I know that you've told it before, about your dad being a pilot and going into manual, and him having to fly the plane in because there was a malfunction, right? And that happens in our brain a lot. And so did you bring a story like that into Stuck No More? Like, is there a story that you tell in there that is like very is a very good example of like how we can, like, not think our way out, but feel and intuitively move through it?
Well, I did use an example of how we can speak into existence, like what we want, and to be careful what we speak out. And that story was, I'm just laughing because I manifested something I didn't want. And
Oh
so
no.
I mean, I kind of, it's so weird. It's such a funny thing, but so I'll share briefly. But during the time when people in Canada were kind of being cautioned not to travel, uh, I had an opportunity to go down to Florida and, have a dinner. I won this dinner, and it was like kind of, you know, at the time, very impactful for my career and my life. And so my husband and I decided, like, I'm just going to fly down there and fly back like 48 hours. And I'm going to give you the short version. But essentially, on the way home, Health Canada stopped me and said, we're so sorry, but you don't have the right negative test. And we're going to hold you for 14 days in a federal facility. Um, you can leave, but it's a $250,000 fine and jail time.
Isn't that wild? Like, is that not just like
Okay. Yes,
insanity?
but let me tell you what the point of the story is. So then, it was crazy. I mean, they met me in hazmat suits. There was a guard outside my door. It was like, and it was a very nice hotel. It was not like a federal, like, I was picturing like what you see in like movies, like a metal bed with like,
You're
anyway,
in an insane asylum.
I don't know what I was picturing, but it wasn't a 5-star hotel. Anyway, so there I am in this beautiful hotel, and with a guard outside the door. I can't even open the window. And I phone my husband, Dave, of course,
Yeah.
and I'm about to lose it. Like, I've just been told I'm being held against my will.
Yeah.
facing possible jail time. And I'm like about to, you know, come unhinged. And Dave says to me, sweetheart, you're there. And didn't you just tell me that all you wanted for Christmas? This was January. And in December, I I said to Dave, he goes, what do you want for Christmas? And I said, all I want is to be locked in a hotel room so I can finish writing my book for like 5 days. That's all I want. So I'm just saying, like, sometimes when we speak out, we're so powerful. Like Dave literally reminded me, like, didn't you just say you want to be locked in a hotel room? Like,
You're like, not like this though.
but I self-sabotage no more was born. I finished my devotional that I wrote that those 11 days, they kept me 11 days. And self-sabotage no more, I did all of the research for. I didn't know it yet, but I had pages and pages of notes that ended up being my first book. And
Wow.
so it was such a blessing.
Hmm.
But that I share that story in more detail in Stuck No More, around being really aware of what you declare over your life and what you say you want. Because
Yeah.
we can create what we want and what we don't want. And people don't realize you're manifesting all the time, whether you're acknowledging it. And I love what you said about not saying it's a fluke, or not like dismissing it, or not saying, well, enjoy it because this kind of stuff doesn't happen every time, right? Like, parents are always so often wanting to like dampen, like, don't get too hopeful, life isn't like this, and you've given your daughter such a gift, because now she knows she can manifest, and she's just going to increase that belief and increase that belief. And belief is like it's the
It's
magic,
everything.
right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So yes, you are manifesting your current finances, you manifested your current home, you manifested your current relationship, you manifested your current, a lot of people think that life happens to them, but we happen to our lives. We speak our lives into existence. We feel our lives into existence. We attract. I say we basically are broadcasting all the time, Christina. We broadcast, and what we broadcast, we attract back. So if you're broadcasting wounded, or scarcity, or no one respects me, or I never get a good parking spot, that is what you attract. And if you broadcast rock star parking, and if you broadcast abundance and amazing opportunities and favor and protection and cool trips, that's what you manifest. And
You
it's
know, it's
just,
so funny you say that because I have this because of you. I am protected beside my computer because I know that going through some of this growth, you can feel it. You can feel people coming for you when you have success, and that can be a really lonely place. And I realized, after speaking with you so many times, that there are people at the top of the mountain that are there welcoming you, that are there cheering you on, the right people. And even as we're having this conversation, this is so interesting because, as you know, Ryan and I have been building a house here in Mexico for a lot longer than we anticipated. But here's the deal. I was told by so many people it's going to take months, it's going to take years, it's going to take so much time. And so that was my expectation because I didn't want to be disappointed. Anybody that's listening, have you ever had that moment? I'm like, I don't like birthdays because I feel like I'm disappointed by the people that don't show up. But yet people have busy lives. And why do we put so much emphasis on one day? Right? Like, it's so silly. And so I just realized actually about 3 months ago, I said I had this expectation that this was going to take forever, and it is taking forever. And then we went in and we had a conversation with the developer, and I said, no, like, we have been in this apartment. This is our expectation now. This is where we're going. We're going to meet with you every Friday until it's done. We went away for 3 weeks. We come back, and I said to Ryan on the drive over there, I said, I bet they're going to have the plaster on the wall. And it was so not even close to that when we left 3 weeks prior, like not even close. There was like cylinders and like no roof. Okay. So I was just like, okay. But I was like, I bet there's going to be white on the walls. Like, I bet in this life, when we show up, there's going to be there. And I bet, you know what? I bet we'll be in by November. I bet that this is, and that was my expectation. And they said October. And I was like, nah, I think November. I think I should have just thought a little bit more about it and brought more emotion to it. We could have been done by October. But I'm starting to realize that I'm changing the timeline. right? That time
Yes.
is relative, and I'm
Mhm.
changing the timeline with my expectations and how I'm showing up to those meetings and what we're talking about and where we're going, and I'm starting to make decisions based on the timeline that I want to happen. And all of a sudden, guess what? All this work is getting done. We show up every week and I'm like, yes, this is done and this is done. The floor is in and we're okay. We're going places, right? We have so much control over our lives that we don't realize. And where we settle, our expectations, our habits, the standards, what we tolerate, we get. And so
Mhm.
if we can start being more conscious of these conversations, the people that we surround ourselves with, what are the conversations that we're having with them? How do we show up for them? How do they show up for us, right? If we start to be a lot more cognizant of those conversations, man, life starts going rapidly in the direction that you want it to go. And I know that that's worked for you in your life with business, with your property, with the goals that you guys have set moving forward, you
Mhm.
know? And so first of all, if you haven't already gone to Amazon during this podcast, go buy both books, Self Sabotage No More, okay, and go buy Stuck No More, because once you read Self Sabotage No More, you're going to want to get Stuck No More because of the skill set that you will learn. I promise you that these books have changed the way that I show up and how I operate when I face challenges or operate when I feel stuck. I don't even like saying the word really because I'm like putting it into existence. Just like I'm like, oh my gosh, when you were talking, we got emotional. I was just like, oh my God, you're killing me. You're not killing me. You're just like making me feel very touched in my heart. Okay. But like we say these things, and I'm giving that as an example, is that we say these things
Yeah.
off the top of our head without even thinking about it because it's our monkey brain that's happening and it's not our subconscious brain, right? So
Mhm.
bringing it back into that, I also know, Jenny, that you have podcasts that go alongside these books. Do you want to kind of fill people in on what you got and the resources that you have as well?
Sure. Yeah. So you can hop on my podcast, Self Sabotage No More, season one, season two. Season one is based on the first book of the same name. And then season two is based on Stuck No More. And so, I just really enjoy doing those. They are limited podcasts. They are based specifically on the book. I bring in new stories and things like that. So it's not just on, but basically it's chapter to chapter. The concepts, I just, kind of talk about the concepts, expand on the concepts, and the other resources. I have a Self Sabotage No More Facebook group, and you can just check out everything connected to getting out of your own way at jenniepotter.com. And Jennie's with an IE, so JenniePotter.com. And you can just see there's access to the community there, access to my books. There's a free resource bundle with like hacks to release unprocessed emotions, all that kind of stuff. So super cool. And I just want to say one more thing to what
Yeah.
you were saying, Christina, is so many of us have been taught that growth has to be difficult and take a long time. And personal growth absolutely does not. You can get unstuck in a moment. You can heal in a moment. You can miraculously change your circumstances in a moment. You can expand time. You can speed things up. You can change your circumstances, and you can do it all in a moment. And I want to speak that over you if you're listening right now, because there's so many people. For me, for years, I believed that growth had to be painful and take a long time. And what that meant, it wasn't just hard for me, that was hard for my clients, because I believed that their journey had to be a long one. And now I'm like, you know, you can release an emotion in the moment. If you've had resentment in your stomach over something that happened to you when you were 5 years old, you can release it today, right now, in a few simple steps with a prayer. Like, there's just so much, there's so much that we don't know. But what I'm learning is that we can lean on and expect for miracles in our life and experience them. And so I just want to thank you so much for having me on here, Christina, and for all of your assistance and all of your connections and all of your support. It's meant so much and has really helped me shape my business and my writing and everything. So thank you.
I love you so much. And Here's the thing. People walk into your life. Jennie and I met at an event and we kept crossing paths, her and her husband. And I was like, man, you were meant to be in my life. And I didn't even know that we only lived a few hours away when we met, because we met in an event in Florida and we lived both on Vancouver Island. And when I met her, we talked a lot, like we didn't just have surface level conversation. We just like went in deep right away. Like we'd known each other for years. The reason that I endorse you and what you do and bring you to all of my clients as a resource is because there are very few people out there that are as good at what you do as you. You are an intuitive coach, an intuitive healer. You're somebody, and there's a lot of people out there that are false prophets, right? There's a lot of people out there that are going out and saying that they can do all these things and they cannot. Whereas Jennie, without any sort of ego, just with like so much love and faith in her heart, has been such a huge impact, not only on me, my husband, on people that we know, to release some of these energy blocks that have been holding us back. Because I, like you, thought success was hard. I was taught that it was hard. And it was only a couple of years ago that I realized actually it can be a heck of a lot of fun, and you can find a lot of joy in the day-to-day life of building exactly what you want. And that energy shifted everything in my business. It was a couple of sessions with you, because you can also work one-on-one with Jennie. I don't know if you want to sell that right now, but she can work one-on-one with her. She's incredible. If you can go through some sessions with her and release some of these unprocessed emotions, these stuck emotions that have probably held you down for years. And the outcome of that was miraculous. A week later, I was freely speaking without thinking and had millions and millions and millions of views on a video with people asking me the exact question that I've been trying to get people to ask me online for 8 years. It just like something was removed. All of a sudden, I was like, this is wholeheartedly who I am and how I'm going to show up and how I'm going to serve people. And it was like a waterfall of people that came into my circle because I had released some things with Jennie. So I just appreciate you and everything that you do for people. And I'm so glad that you're out there. I'm glad your books are getting out there. I'm glad you're out there speaking. I'm so excited to see you in Nashville in December, because you've been honored by the same company, the International Association of Top Professionals, with a beautiful award as well. Because, man, you are changing the world. You are changing people's lives. And I just feel really grateful to have you in my circle. So thank you so much for sharing. You guys go and get her book, because you're not just going to want to listen to it on Audible. You're also going to want to be able to have a resource in front of you where you're like highlighting and underlining and going back like it's a resource for you. I certainly am appreciative of that. And go check out our podcast. Jennie, thank you so much for being here. I love you.
Thanks, Christina.
That's another episode of Freedom Motivated. My name is Christina Whiteley, and we'll see you again next time. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another inspiring episode of Freedom Motivated with your host, me, Christina Whiteley. We hope that the stories we've shared today have sparked a fire within you and ignited your passion for living life on your terms. Remember, true freedom lies in the choices we make and the actions we take. So go out there and embrace your journey. Take the leap of faith, believe in yourself, and never settle for less than what you deserve. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the Freedom Motivated podcast and never miss out on our upcoming interviews with more incredible entrepreneurs and freedom leaders. Be bold, be brave, be disruptive. You are capable of things far beyond your wildest dreams if you just have the courage to go for it. Thank you for being a part of this incredible community. Until next time, may you always be driven by the desire for freedom and motivated to make your dreams a reality.